welcome back. Today's video is going to be this makeup tutorial for you, which I think is perfect for the holidays. If you guys remember, a couple months back I did a boyfriend does my voiceover look, and if you guys didn't watch that video, I'll leave it linked below, but I did a halo smoky eye in that video and I loved it so much that I got inspired to recreate it using all drugstore and affordable makeup products. I'll leave everything down below if you guys are interested, and if you want to see how to get this look, then you know what to do. Let's get started. Hey guys, so I'm starting off with a fresh face, no makeup, no brows, nothing. I just have my menthol lip shine from Bath & Body Works on, and I'm going to start with my brows today. By the way, I apologize if there's a bit of an echo. I'm in a different room right now because I had to go to a different room because my roommate was in my room, so I'm sorry about the echo. But I'm just doing my brows on camera today because I usually always skip this step because I have a brow tutorial, but I get a lot of requests to just show them, so I figured since I use drugstore products anyway, and this is a drugstore look, I would just share with you guys what I use in case you're new to my channel. So I always use the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer in the shade Brunette. It's my favorite. It's such a great eyebrow pencil. Highly recommend it, and I just basically follow along with the natural shape of my brows, and then I always like to clean them up with this NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage Concealer in the shade Beige, and I'm just using a flat shader brush from Wet n Wild just to carve them out, clean up any mistakes, and I feel like this makes such a huge difference. So once I have that concealer there, I just take a beauty blender or sponge and just go ahead and blend that in. This sponge that I'm using is from Ulta, by the way. Then I'm priming my lids with my NYX eyeshadow base. This one is in the shade Skin Tone. Once again, I'm using another flat shader brush from Wet n Wild. These brushes are so good, and they're literally all less than $5. So if you can find them, I highly recommend them. Then of course I'm using the same Ulta Beauty sponge just to blend out that primer, and if I can find these sponges, I'll link them down below. I got them at Ulta in a pack of 2. I'm then using my crumbled up Wet n Wild eyeshadow, which I love, in the shade Brule, just to set that primer. This eyeshadow is amazing for setting any concealer or eye primer on your lids, and it helps your other eyeshadow to just blend and go on so smoothly. I love it. And this brush, by the way, is from e.l.f. if you're curious. So today I'm starting off with the Wet n Wild Contour Kit. I'm picking up the contour shade on a BH Cosmetics fluffy blending brush. I'm just applying that into my crease. I'm using a lot of BH brushes because I just got a new brush kit from them, which I'll leave linked down below. I'm really impressed by it. This was my first time using it, and the quality of the brushes is so good. They're so soft, such high quality at a really great price. So as always, I'm just applying this as a neutral blending color because the palette I'm going to be using doesn't come with a neutral blending shade, so I always just use bronzer. Then I'm using the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette, which is my favorite drugstore palette, and I'm using that medium taupey brown color on a smaller, tiny, flat brush, again from BH Cosmetics, and I'm basically just starting to create the halo effect. So I'm applying the shade on the outer part of my lid, and in the inner part, leaving the center of it blank, because of course that's going to create the halo effect. I love this look, but it does take a lot of time, and mine is still not perfect. I'm still trying to perfect my halo smoky eye, but the more you practice, the better you'll get at anything. And I'm also practicing with a lot of looks as well, so you guys are not alone. So then I'm using the darker shade in the palette, and I'm just going to use a different flat shader brush just to go ahead and go over top directly where I just applied that taupey brown color, just to intensify the look and make it really dark, because it's the holidays, so you have a good reason to, you know, go full on glam with your makeup. So I'm just packing the color on just until I get it to be as intense as I want it. I also almost forgot to mention that this palette is extremely pigmented, so a little bit goes a long way. I did only literally dabbed my brush a little bit, and then I tapped off the excess, and you can see just how pigmented it is, especially the darker colors. So when working with this palette, just remember to be very light-handed with it and start out with a little bit of product at a time and then gradually work your way up. Then I'm using the same bronzer color from earlier on the same blending brush and just blending out the edges of my shadow. If you watch me, you know I can never forget the brow bone highlight, so I'm using the same color from the same palette, and I'm just applying this on a really tiny, precise brush. I feel like this really enhances the arch of my brows, and it truly completes the look. I can never do a look without a brow bone highlight. Then I'm just spraying my brush with my NYX Matte Setting Spray, and I'm going to use the two lightest colors in the palette. You really don't have to spray your brush because the colors are so pigmented, but I find that doing this kind of just enhances the shadow a bit more and gives it a more wet metallic finish. And I'm using a flat shader brush just to pack that right onto the center of my lid. This brush is from Tarte. I got it as a free gift when I ordered online, so I'm just really packing that on until I get it really intense because this is obviously the main focus of the look. I then took the same blending brush from earlier just to blend out the edges of my shadow so there's no harsh lines, and now I'm using the Wet n Wild Max Volume Plus Mascara. I am going to be using falsies, so I always like to prep my lashes just so everything blends better. You could totally skip out on falsies if you have amazing lashes, but for a look like this, I think lashes are a must. So I'm using the Eyelure, I think you say Baroque, I think that's how you say it, I have no idea. But you can find this style at Ulta, and this is my favorite eyelash glue, by the way. It is the best one that I've tried. It's so affordable. So I did skip out on liner today, by the way, because I didn't want to take away from the eyeshadow, and whenever I do a halo smoky eye, I like the main focus to be on the shadow itself and just lashes. So moving on to the face, I'm using the Hard Candy Pore Defense Primer Serum, which is one of my favorites. I feel like this primer works for a lot of different skin types because I have a combo of both and I never have any issues with it. So I love this for minimizing my pores, so I like to focus most of the product on the bottom portion of my face, and then I'll just work the rest of it on my forehead and around the outer perimeter of my face. For foundation today, I'm using the Dream Velvet one from Maybelline. I haven't used this in so long. I was digging through my makeup and I forgot how much I really love this foundation. The coverage is on point and it's really beautiful on the face. So I just applied it with my finger and then just blended it out with my sponge from Ulta, which I love. Then for my under eyes, I'm using the Hard Candy Under Eye Treatment and Corrector, which is another, oops, sorry about my phone. This is another product that I love. It's great if you have puffiness or if you just feel like you need a little bit more of a boost and hydration underneath your eyes. I think it's perfect. So for me, it's great because I don't get the best of sleep all the time. So I feel like it really reduces any puffiness that I have. It doesn't have a ton of coverage for being a corrector, but again, I just love it for the puffiness and cooling, refreshing feeling that it gives my under eye. So then I'm using the NYX HD Concealer in the shade Beige. This is one of those concealers that I always go back to no matter what. It is just so flawless underneath the eyes, and I love it for concealing and highlighting. I'm using the Airspun Loose Face Powder to go ahead and bake underneath my eyes. I don't like the smell of this, but I look past the smell because I think it's amazing for baking, and the more that I use it, the more that I realize that the smell is really not a big deal. So if you have dry under eyes or you need a powder that's really good for baking, I think this is great because it doesn't over dry my eyes and it literally looks so flawless when you set it. So I do build it up a lot with my damp beauty sponge because I really wanted a flawless under eye look. Then I started contouring here and I forgot to set the rest of my face. So anyways, you'll see what I do in a minute, but I'm just using another BH angled brush just to go ahead and chisel my cheeks out a bit, give me a really natural bronze contoured look. And by the way, I'm using the contour palette from Wet n Wild from earlier. Then I just dusted off the bakage underneath my eyes, and then with the extra powder that I have on the brush, I just took it to kind of set the rest of my face over top of the bronzer. Okay, so I'm using, like I mentioned, the Wet n Wild contour palette. This one's in the shade Caramel Toffee. Again, I just kind of went over the contour again just to intensify it a little bit more with the same angled brush that I was just using. For blush, I'm using the e.l.f. palette. This one's in the shade Dark, and I'm picking up those two colors on a Sonia Kashuk stippling brush. I just applied that right to the apples of my cheeks. You can see this palette is extremely pigmented. So now I'm using the same Comfort Zone palette from earlier, picking up the Brow Bone color. I'm actually using that to highlight my face today, and I picked up this fan brush from Beige, and then I was like, it's a little bit too big to dip in the shadows, so I took a smaller brush. This one's from Target, just to really concentrate the highlight on the top points of my face and really get in there and highlight. This shade is so beautiful, you guys. I love it for highlighting everywhere, the brow bone, the inner corner. It's so pretty. Now I'm finishing up my lower lashes. I'm just using the darker brown shade on a really tiny precise brush. I'm just applying that on my lower lashes, and then I just took a Vanity Planet blending brush, which you'll see in a minute, with more of that brown shadow just to really smoke it out and really smudge out everything and make it really dark. Now for my lips, I started off with the Jordana lip liner in the shade Tawny. I'm so sorry, but the clips where I was applying my lip color were completely out of focus. And then the lip color is Divine Wine from Maybelline. I literally messed up on my lips so much. I was struggling to get them to look decent, so that's why my lips look a little bit messed up. I suck at applying dark lip colors. But the final thing that I did was just took my NYX Matte Finish setting spray just to go ahead and lock my makeup into place. And that is it for this look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know of what other holiday looks you guys want to see from me next. I love you guys. I hope you're having an amazing December, and I'll see you soon. Bye!